I grew up in a cult. Indeed, I did. Back then, it didn't feel like a cult. Didn't know what a cult was. But now I look back and realize, wow, I grew up in a cult. And that cult is still thriving till this present day. In fact, that cult has grown so big, it is one of the biggest churches in Nigeria. The cult's name is the Deeper Life Bible Church, and the founder is Pastor W.F. Kumuyi. This man single-handedly destroyed my childhood. Yes, it was indeed his fault. I'll tell you a little bit about my beginnings. I was born to Christian parents, and they were very religious, both of them till the day they died. Both my parents went to this man's church till the day they died. Both of them. My father was even ordained a pastor in this church, but he never made it to having his own ministry, that sort of thing. No. My father was too much of a deviant to run his own church. He had his own ways about him. So no, he wouldn't have been able to run his own church. But my mom was very faithful. She was. Till the day she died, she was teaching kids. She was. When we grew up, we went to a variety of churches. And I remember mom and dad found this new church they wanted us to go to. And we tag along. We didn't have a choice. On Sundays, you had no choice. You had to go. We all would get in the car and off we go. When we went to church, the children would be kept separate from the parents. And the focus with this particular ministry was holiness. He preached holiness. He still preaches holiness till this present day.
We confuse the people and they're not ready to get to heaven. Give me holiness and take the rest of the things away. Do I need salary? Do I need money? Do I need car? Do I need house? Do I need children? Ask my wife. If it were not because she prayed and she said, we must have children. Do I need children? Do I need money? Do I need anything? Is it only holiness? Isn't it only holiness I need? And if you take the holiness away in a subtle way, and then you are eroding into it, and you are destroying it, and then we don't have any mouth again to talk about holiness, what are you doing? You pack your load and go. I don't need you with any of the gifts you have. Give me holiness and take the rest away.
As far as he is concerned, God has called him to preach holiness. His goal is to see to it that everyone in his ministry makes it to heaven. And he cries. He cries a lot. He cries over souls that are not going to make it to heaven. So as part of his holiness movement, he talks about dressing. Dressing is a very important deal with Kumuyi. He talks about your appearance. He talks about jewelry. He talks about perfume. He talks about, the things that you look on the outside. Also talks about your inside, your walk with Christ. So when you talk about being born again, in this particular church, being born again, there are different steps to being born again. You first have to acknowledge that you're a sinner, then receive Jesus into your heart. Then there's a time that you need to be consecrated. You've got to be dedicated. Then you've got to be sanctified, glorified, and you've got to do restitution. There is a whole process with being born again in this man's church. As far as this man's church is concerned, the way I look now, I am destined to hell. You could not have your hair out like this. You could not wear a wig like this. You could not wear jewelry. You had to be pious. You had to be modest. Modesty was key with this particular church. So how did this man destroy my childhood? As a child, I was introduced to Jesus in this man's church. And let me tell you, it was not a nice experience. We were made to give our lives to Jesus as youngsters. And please don't think that it was a nice introduction to Jesus. No, they terrified us into giving our lives to Jesus. They would show us movies like The Burning Hell. And it would be late at night. And after watching the movie, They then make an altar call. I still remember the words that they used to use on that altar. They would say things like, if you sleep, if you go to sleep and you die in your sleep, where will you spend eternity? And that used to scare me. That used to scare the life out of me, because I thought, so you're telling me that I could go to sleep tonight and die, and I will go to that place that they showed in that movie we watched? So me, my sister, we would go out there and go and give our lives to Christ in tears. 7, 8-year-olds. Child abuse of the highest order in this man's church. In this man's church, he said, television, you were not allowed to watch the television. You could not wear jewelry, you could not wear perfume, you could not. But that issue of television, everyone who was in that church had to get rid of their televisions. We could not watch television because this man said the TV will usher in the devil into the home. Well, it's been how many years? It's been over 30 years. And W.F. Kumuyi is the biggest hypocrite that there is. Because now this man, he is on television.
And you have a need to have this and to have that. But you know what the Lord has called you for? In this country and in this life, the Lord has called me that I will preach the sanctification and the holiness. And anybody, no matter how useful you are, no matter how profitable you are, and no matter if you have the minds of all the people in the church, and you can drive them, and you can motivate them, and you have all the people behind you. If you go against, either in a subtle way or in a direct way, against the word of holiness and sanctification, we part. Because that's my very vision, that's my very life, that's my very calling. All the other doctrines are standing because of sanctification, because of holiness. And when you touch it, you touch the whole ministry. Kill me then. What am I living for? If you touch the holiness, and you take the holiness away, and then you influence people not to accept the holiness, what am I living for? And then you say you are a friend, and then you say you are a worker, and then you say you are a financier, and then you say, Pastor, I'm giving you this, keep it to yourself. Who wants your car? Who wants your money? Who wants everything you've got? When you destroy my very heart, the heart of the Christian faith is holiness and sanctification. When you pinch the heart of the man, when you put your dagger on the heart of the man, when you kill that man, you take his heart away. After you destroy his heart, then you give him a car. How is he going to drive a car with no heart? You've taken his life away. You've destroyed him. And now you give him a car. What am I going to use that for? All your talent and all the gift you have, all your smiling and all the ability, all the skill you have, all the running around, what's he going to be useful for when there's no sanctification, there's no holiness? And then we confuse the people and they're not ready to get to heaven. Give me holiness and take the rest of the things away. Do I need salary? Do I need money? Do I need car? Do I need house? Do I need children? Ask my wife. If it were not because, she prayed and she said, we must have children. Do I need children? Do I need money? Do I need anything? Is it only holiness? Isn't it only holiness I need? And if you take the holiness away in a subtle way, and then you are eroding into it, and you are destroying it, and then we don't have any mouth again to talk about holiness, what are you doing? You pack your load and go. I don't need you with any of the gifts you have. Give me holiness and take the rest away. Holiness. That's the very center. The disciplined leader doesn't worry.
Now he is on television. He is on people's screens. You denied children of a childhood. We were in church 3-4 times a week. We had no time to be children. We were all in the church because our parents, they wanted us to go to heaven. We were introduced to this whole rhetoric from a very tender age. You abuse children into receiving Jesus. I still remember we would go to camp meetings, and in those camp meetings, the adults are in their own tent, and the children are in their own tent. In the children's tent, they would then have a time where the evil spirits, the demons inside the children are brought out. To tell everybody, close your eyes. If you have an evil spirit inside of you, if you're a witch, come out now. Because when we start praying, when we rain down fire, you will not be able to stand on your feet. And you will hear the screaming, the shouting. They will tell the rest of us to close our eyes. Close your eyes. Hey, I remember being a child, closing my eyes and being afraid to open it because I did not want to have a demon possess me. They tell you not to open your eyes because a demon could possess you. They would cast out demons from little children. I remember one of my friends back then, I still remember her name. She came out and said she was a witch and she received witchcraft through food. Someone gave her some food and that food turned her into a witch. They prayed for her. She was supposed to be okay. But she was painted. She's got the witchcraft. My mom told us, be careful of that one because she could. I would see this girl coming down this end of the street and I would run for my life. She was my friend. But because she's now been accused of witchcraft, I want nothing to do with her. Maybe before she will pass on her witchcraft to me. Guys, I have a lot of stories that I could tell about this particular church. The focus on holiness meant that people were denied of being their true selves. There was a code for how you dressed. There was a code for how you behave. There was a code for everything. And the focus was this heavenly place. Thankfully, today, I've walked away from this whole nonsense, but I've been scarred. I have been scarred by this man's church and everything that went on there. I'm not the only one. There's many people who are sharing their experiences of being scarred in this man's church. A typical example is this person. Says, I've been a member of the Deeper Life Church. So this is someone's testimony. It says, I saw a lot of meanness in Deeper Life towards members and other kids perpetrated by my parents. That injustice and power trip really turned me off from Christianity and made it ring hollow to me. Essentially, my view of Deeper Life is that it is a pseudo cult where most members sort of worship Kumuyi and defer a lot of authority to their pastors regarding a lot of decisions of their lives, professional or personal. Members yield so much power to leadership that is all too happy to take it. You only rise by being a conformist and playing their game, being Christ-like, losing all identity and all self. They are master manipulators and will try to use you if they can. As a youth, your parents will use the threat of church discipline and shame on the family to keep you in line. All in all, I avoided all branches of Deeper Life like plague and have no desire to be associated with them. A bit of a backstory is surely necessary. I've had my first atheist experience at 6 while staring at people yelling and gesticulating during a prayer meeting. Being Christian in a legalistic sense of the word always felt impossible, even as a kid. As a result, the entire perfect righteousness never resonated with me, despite being surrounded by it. Guys, this is very much like my experience. There's also someone else's experience here. So this is another person's experience. I was a Deeper Life member and worker and almost a pastor for about 20 years. Initially, when you join, it appears to be one great club of humble believers, but afterwards, you start to notice the following traits of the organization. They are beholden to one man, Pastor Kumuyi. Anything Pastor Kumuyi says is truth. And if you do not like it, you must leave or start your own church. They are so spiritually arrogant and portray their church as the next best thing to holiness, while other churches are either further away from holiness or fake altogether. They separate families, husband and wives, children and parents, and siblings and co-workers. Of course they do, because if you're not part of the tribe, you can't associate with people who are not part of the Deeper Life Church. If you're in a second marriage and you become born again, you must go back to your first wife. That's something that they preached. And you must reconcile with her, assuming she's unmarried, because your second wife is not recognized by God. Imagine the confusion that this will cause, especially with the children involved. They lack true compassion and love for everyone else other than their followers. Yes, I can completely agree with that. They use hellfire to threaten their members into paying tithes and to abide by church rules and regulations. It's still going on till this present day. Hellfire was such a big focus in this church. We knew everything that went on in hellfire from a tender young age. You heard about fire and brimstone, the weeping and gnashing of teeth. The devil is going to torture you with pitchforks. This is what they taught. If you're not careful, the church will take over your individuality. Oh no, there is no individuality in Deeper Life Church. And you will become another zombie minion without a mind of your own. The church also has the tendency to preach against wine or alcohol intake, something that was never commanded in the Bible. Rather, the Bible says we should do everything in moderation. Oh, you're not allowed to drink. It's not even a thing of, oh, you can have some or don't have. You're completely not allowed to drink. It is difficult to be truly happy in Deeper Life because you're always fighting one sin or the other, or chasing one demon or the other. Their focus is strongly selfish. It is all about your own salvation and escaping hell to make heaven. They will often tell young women for certain styles of dressing. The problem is many of these same women have the heart of Jezebel, very similar to the modest radical Muslim woman who, despite dressing modestly with the hijab, will easily blow up innocent civilians in the name of her God. They preach the fables and myths of a fictitious rapture. Oh my goodness. Whew. That whole rapture thing, oh my goodness, they make such a big deal. Jesus is coming any day now, any day now, any day. You see, there's many people that are sharing their testimonies, their journeys out of this cult. And so I'm putting this word out there. If you were a part of Deeper Life Church and you can relate to everything that I am saying, and you would like to have your voice heard, you would like to do a video with me, a live stream, I'll be very happy to hear from you. Please make your comments known and I will definitely reach out to you. Let's expose Kumuyi. Let's expose Kumuyi. He has been exposed over the years. Lots of people. I remember the incident that happened with that young boy in Kumuyi's boarding school. Kumuyi has gone on to have his own university, his own boarding school, his own everything. Because money, he has made a lot of money. His edifice, his church, it's one of the biggest ones, right, in Lagos, Nigeria. This man has made money preaching fake doctrines, preaching false doctrine. He is nothing but a fake. He's nothing but a scammer. He's nothing but a cult leader. This Kumuyi is. And I will continue to call him out. The next video about Kumuyi will be about a story that a pastor told. A pastor told a story that this is something Kumuyi shared. Two ladies came out for testimony and they accused Kumuyi of sleeping with them. They said, Kumuyi stood up and said, well, if you are going to talk bad about me, I'll leave it all for God and this and that. And while the two ladies were still standing out there, God got angry and took out one of them. She fell and she died because she accused the pastor of sleeping with her. They made it look as though she was the guilty party. She was the one saying things that were not true. Hence why God had her killed. But that Mr. Kumuyi was the right one. He was innocent of all charges, innocent of all allegations. Guys, when I tell you this cult is still going, but we will put a stop to it. We will continue to call it out. So if you have been touched by this video and you were part of this cult or any other cult and you would like to talk about it, please contact me and let's see. My contact details are all in my about section. All right, guys, make sure to subscribe and I will catch you in the next video. There's still sin in the world. Christians sin every single day. So what did Jesus sacrifice himself for?